Hey everyone, my name is Rob Sayed Jr. and I am a children's book author and illustrator. And today in our video, we are going to talk about my favorite all-time digital painting tool that's very much not known by many people. It's a little bit hidden in the program of Photoshop, but it's a widely versatile tool that I use all the time, and it's called the Fade tool. It allows you to take any type of, well, for the most part, any type of command that you put into Photoshop, whether it be painting or erasing, and allow you to fade it individually. We're gonna go right into the program and start painting, and I'll show you some examples of how I use this and why I use this over such as the layer panel tool and fading things that way. So let's get right in. So the Fade tool is a tool in which it reacts to anything you are inputting to Photoshop. Well, most things, but you need to think like a computer or a computer program. By input, I mean such as anything as a paint stroke or a paint bucket full. What this means is that we're just giving telling Photoshop to do something specific. So the Fade tool, I'm going to demonstrate the tool on a blank piece first, and then we'll demo it on something I'm working on currently. But the Fade tool lets you do just that. It allows you to fade any singular input, and the emphasis is on the singular input that you just did. So when you use the Fade tool, you have to do it immediately after your last input, or the last brush stroke, or the last paint bucket. So here we go. Here's a paint stroke, right? And I'm not going to use the Fade tool here, but I'm going to go slightly darker, and then I'm going to use the paint stroke, but I'm going to use the command key or the command tool of command key Shift+F. And you'll see this little dialog box come up here. And what that allows you to do is change the opacity of that tool, of that last stroke, or even the layer mode, just for this individual stroke. So I can change it to multiply. I can change it to soft light. It won't do anything, but you can see it's very slight. You can do it for any of these, and that's for that singular brush stroke. So I'm going to leave it on multiply for this, or even dissolve will be very apparent. And what's great about this is that it doesn't change anything in your layers panel over here. I'm going to turn on my highlighter. It doesn't change anything over here. So everything here, layer mode, normal, you're at 100%. This means that we have an amazing amount of versatility that we once had just by a layer panel, but now we have it stroke by stroke. And I use this all the time, even just to mix colors or to change blurs on the fly without having to undo the whole thing. So remember how I said I just spoke about blur, but I'm going to use the key commands, Apple Shift+F, for the Fade tool to, let's say I wanted to blur this. So I'm going to go blur, Gaussian blur, or motion blur, just so we can see it very, something very heavy. And I'm going to do 90 pixels just for the demonstration. Okay? So here it's very blurry, and that may have been too much. Now I normally, if I didn't have access to the Fade tool, I would have to undo and redo this every time until I thought it was right. With the Fade tool, it allows me to do this on the fly and see if I can reduce it or as much as I want. It doesn't really do anything with blur, but it allows you to change the opacity with other things. But you can try it. It's not going to do anything other than change the whole layer, the whole object to multiply. So I would stay away from this from effects standpoints on this, but use the layer mode part for painting and coloring. So you can see where the versatility of this and using this and adding this to your workflow can save you not only time, but allow you to do things much more simply. So an example, mixing colors, right? So there's a brush stroke of blue. I just want to get a darker blue. I'm going to just do this, and on the fly, change it to multiply, and then I have a darker blue in the middle. And I build color palettes this way, or just shading in this way, and it makes it a lot easier to see it and make much more valuable decisions to my overall piece. You can even do this, so if I want to add red and get a purple out of this, I can just hit Apple Shift+F, and I can either fade it and get like duller spectrums, or multiply and get a little bit different purples, or even color. It's not going to be too purple, but it'll allow me to make color changes and color effects on the fly. So I'm just going to undo that. So let me show you how I would do this on an actual piece. This is something I'm working on that's almost done. I have my textures in, but say I wanted to add some shadow to here, right, and build it up over time, or even here. This, if I wanted to make my tire a little bit dirty, I'm going to pull this up, pull like a brown, right, and I wanted it to fade a little bit more, or certain ones to fade. I can set my opacity here, lower it a little bit, right? So when I put the opacity down, it starts from the 66% opacity, because that's what my brush was set to. But say I wanted to decide to make this area a little bit stronger, I can make it a little bit stronger. And on the fly, you don't have to undo and redo it. You can pick it and choose it. This works with the eraser too. So if I wanted to just erase parts of it or erase some of it, I can erase some of it and pull out some of it. This is amazing to have as you're trying to work quickly, but also adding textures to your work. It'll help make things much easier, allow you to look and then settle in on what that decision is for you, and then also just ultimately make better artwork, because it allows you the time to make the decision and make thoughtful decisions as opposed to just rushing to get it. So that was the fade tool. It's really my favorite command key in all of Photoshop. When I figured it out, it changed my whole way of looking at digital painting and how I paint digitally on the computer. And it is a real game changer for anyone who isn't using it already. So I suggest bringing it into your workflow and start bringing it in little ways, and then see how you adjust to it and see the things that you're doing, and keep trying it with other colors and other effects and see how it works for you. Thank you so much for watching. To see more of my work, please visit me on Instagram at robsayart, or visit my website at www.robsayart.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what other videos you want to see in the comments below. See you next week, guys, and have a great week.